industry as the CDF activities progressed. The action taken is that the funds have since been spent on various CDF activities such as monitoring, office equipment, CDF meetings, and others as appended in 5B. Remedial measures management is committed to ensuring administrative funds are spent prudently to support CDF implementation effectively. We go to community projects 2022. The focus of the query there is the outstanding project and those which were ongoing. Rehabilitation of 1x3 classroom block at Nansala, which is now complete. Construction of health post at Malare, which is also completed. Construction of health post at Mbalakata village. Also construction of health post at Nazareth. I think these are the same projects we discussed in the first query. Construction of health post at Chizongolo. Construction of 1x3 classroom.
Those you have already mentioned on account of time.
Yes, Chair.
Yes.
On the next, Chair, is community projects for 2023. Those were for 2022. Management wishes to acknowledge the query, and those are the projects: construction of an ablution block at the old market, construction of ablution block and installation of waterborne toilet at Sansamwenje, construction of incinerator at Milongo Health Post, construction of staff house at Nansala, and also construction of maternity annex at Nachungu Market. Nachungu Health Post, construction of health post at Nanyuni, construction of maternity annex at Lualizi, also the construction of health post at Moiseni, and also the electrification of public facilities by Rural Electrification Authority. Also the procurement of the TOB, construction of an ablution block at Mwenya, and lastly, the construction of ablution block at Milongo Health Post. Chair, appendix number 5 is the analysis of the grants. This one, our action taken is that the focus of the query was that we approved 44% of the applicants. The approval of 44% of the applicants was in line with the allocated amount ceiling for grants. The applications were way more than the allocated amount. Furthermore, 99.4% of the allocated funds were spent. The balance of 13,143 was carried forward to the following year, where it was spent. Remedial measures: the council management is committed to adhering to budget allocations and ceilings. The next query is on the change of projects without approval by 8 cooperatives. Action taken: management managed to engage these beneficiaries to change the projects and summon them to appear before the Secretariat on the need to maintain the projects they applied for, as well as the need to seek authority from the CDF committee to change the projects. The groups responded and wrote letters to the CDF committee seeking permission to change the projects. The CDF committee granted the beneficiaries authority to change the projects. As appended in 8, management thought through the CDF district monitoring team has intensified monitoring of beneficiaries and ensuring they adhere to approved projects. The next one, Chair, is failure to account for funds by 5 of the cooperatives, 5 of the beneficiary cooperatives. Management action taken: management managed to engage all the beneficiaries who did not account for the funds they benefited from empowerment, and it provided additional financial management training. Chair, we have appended 9 on the action taken on appendix 9. Soft loans and performance analysis of soft loans. The query analyzed how we were performing in soft loans. Management managed to issue a total sum of 1,870,361 to 21 successful loan applicants, while 1,243,132 was not disbursed as the applicants did not meet the requirements for empowerment loans. However, the unsuccessful applicants did not apply for the empowerment despite management writing letters to them on the reasons they were not successful. Management has continued engaging and arranging the bank with the bank on financial literacy training of applicants. The planning department has also intensified sensitization on how to write successful loan application proposals. Chair, failure to recover loans, management action taken. Management engaged the loan beneficiaries, and an amount of, we failed to recover 120,852 by the time of the audit. However, after engaging the beneficiaries, and even though it has been difficult, an amount of 300,299.98 has since been recovered, and we have continued monitoring the loan activities, the loan beneficiaries. This evidence is appended to Appendix 11. Management will continue engaging all loan beneficiaries to ensure that recoveries are made. The next one, Chair, is secondary boarding and skills development bursaries. Here, there was an analysis which looked at how many were picked and how many graduated. Management wishes to acknowledge this query. During the management response that during the time of the audit, some learners were still in school. They had not graduated, while 21 dropped out, as the table below summarizes. So this table, Chair, it looks at the approved.
Read the report.
Okay.
We shall interrogate it, and you will give those responses.
Okay. So skills approved were 92, 77 completed. Those 13 were still in school. Those 2 were dropped out. Secondary, 102 approved, 43 completed, 40 still in school. 19 dropped out. Analysis of performance on desks, on delivery of desks. Management, action taken. 3,730 desks have since been delivered, amounting to 4,556,000, leaving 937 desks of undelivered, 937 of undelivered desks, amounting to 1,965,620. The contracts of non-performing suppliers were terminated, and this was carried forward to 2025 for completion of these 937. Contracts have since been terminated, and the supply and delivery of discs have been carried forward to 2025, Appendix 12. The next one, Chair, is misappropriation of grants from 11 cooperatives. Action taken. Management wishes to state that demand letters were written to the beneficiary groups that misappropriated the funds, summoning them to the Office of the Director of Planning to explain how the funds were utilized, and also to return the funds to the group's accounts. 3 groups provided the evidence of normalization of the funds by showing evidence of procurements and project activities. 8 groups were not very cooperating, so we reported the issue with the police so that they can help us recover the money. Appendix 13 supports our query. Management will continue to engage all beneficiaries who fail to put the empowered resources to good use. Furthermore, management has intensified financial literacy meetings with successful applicants to eradicate the misuse of funds. Ends my report, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Council Secretary, for that presentation. It's now time for points of clarification. Council Secretary, the last page.
Okay.
Misappropriation of grants by 11 groups. this is a period of January to December 2023. What has been your committee of planners who monitor these groups been doing? Has there been any effective monitoring? I mean the word effective. And what feedback were you getting before auditors came in 2024 to arrive at this? Council Secretary.
Chair, maybe before I can invite the Director Planning to shed more light, then I'll come in.
Thank you, Chair. We've been monitoring these beneficiaries on a monthly basis, just like the CDF guidelines have stated, and much work has been done.
We are talking about this query. 11 groups. 11 groups, is it? 11 cooperatives or groups misappropriated grants to the total of 251,856. And I want you to be sincere with this committee. When you say, switch off your mic, when you say that you have been monitoring monthly, at which point did you realize that these cooperatives had engaged in other activities other than those which were approved? If at all you noticed this, what was your action and where is evidence of your guidance to the cooperatives?
Thank you, Chair. We noticed after the auditors had passed, and
when were you audited?
That was around the April.
April which year?
2024.
So from January 2023, the whole year you gave out these grants. Then into 2024 April, that's when you realized after auditors had gone. You have just told this committee that you were monitoring monthly. What were you monitoring if you couldn't pick this? Planner.
Thank you, Chair. It so happened that these 11 beneficiaries or groups of beneficiaries, during the time of audit, when the auditors came.
No, we are asking you. You just told this committee you were monitoring monthly, believing that these grants were given somewhere in June 2023. May, June. I think that is where these grants were given generally across the councils. And you were monitoring in July 2023. You didn't notice this. August, September, November, October, November, December. You are doing monthly monitoring from the words that you have used. Then you went into 2024, January, February, March, April. You couldn't notice until auditors came. What were you doing?
Thank you, Chair. We reported this matter to the police, and it was discovered that some of the reasons were the in-house by the beneficiaries, where maybe one member of the beneficiaries was not faithful to the group and couldn't account for the money. That's how we reported the matter to the police, and the police assisted, and this resulted into a positive outcome for some of them, where the intended project which they applied for was implemented.
Would you show us where the police and that other information you're talking about is in this report?
Sure, Chair.
Appendix
13, where there's a police report as well as the pictures for the project that was implemented.
So you only reported after the auditors?
Sure, Chair.
What was the outcomes of your Why didn't you report when you noticed, when you were doing the monitoring, as you say that you are monitoring monthly? Why didn't you report this matter?
Chair, let me admit that we erred on that one.
Do you know your role, why you are employed?
Sure, Chair.
Why do you err instead of doing the correct job? You are failing on your part. If you are monitoring what you are saying, those vehicles are given to you to monitor these clubs, to monitor these groups, and you go and you draw allowances, administrative cost finished, and yet you don't take action until auditors come. So we should be working for auditors. Is this what you are telling this committee and the people of ISOKA? Mr. Planner.
No, Chair.
Next question. Dr. Wanza.
Page 1.
Let's go to page 1. Page 1 is a cover page.
Page 3. Page 4, sorry. Yeah, of course, that's from page 4. Page 3, where there are out of 44 approved projects, 6 projects with an allocation of 2,335,195 kwacha were commenced during the period under review and were scheduled to have been completed not later than 31st December 2023. The status of these projects are as tabled on page 5 through 6 to 7. Yeah. So these 6 projects on the same date, which is 28th of February 2023, 4 contracts were signed with the ISOKA Council. That is the health post at Nazareth, Chizongolo, and also staff house at Indeke, and ablution block at Tusunkane Market. 4 projects were signed same day. And then
in February 2023.
Yes, in February 2023, 4 projects. 2 health posts, 1 staff house, and then 1 ablution block at a market.
CS, you should be moving with us, all of you, and take note of the dates.
Then the previous date, which is 27th of February, 2 projects were signed. Which is 1 by 3 classroom block at Kalembele Primary School, and the health post at Malale. So it was a very busy day for the council, very busy week. On 27th, they signed 2 contracts. 1 health, and then 1 health post, and then 1 by 3 classroom block. And the following day, on 28th, they signed 4 contracts. Chair, these contracts, they never performed. The West is the health post at Nazareth, where a contractor just got paid advance payment and it disappeared. He abandoned the site. I mean, he never even, there's no proof that he actually occupied the site. The financial details are on page 5. On page 5, construction of health post at Nazareth. Contract signed date, and then he got 123,739 kwacha out of 494, and 25, that is 25% of the contract. So a general question is that management is saying these projects were underfunded or underestimated by the CDFC committee. What is the role of Secretariat, more especially the technical department of council in the CDFC?
At what point did the CDFC committee overrule the technical advice from Works Department in terms of a project cost estimation? Before they respond, I want to maybe make a clarification. When you say out of 44 approved projects, 6 projects with an allocation of 2,335,195, which commenced during the period under review were scheduled to have been completed on 31st December 2023, do you mean 44 for the year 2023 are the committee projects that were approved?
Okay, yeah, you can come in. Chair, Deputy Inspector.
The buildings officer?
Thank you, Chair. These 44 projects were all under 2022 CDF year. It's a Chair.
These we are now these another and others are 2022. So
Yes,
these 44 were approved in one financial year.
Yes, yeah, they were approved in the 2022 financial year.
Community projects to be finalized within 2022.
The 2022 funding, yes, yeah.
How? These were buildings, most of them.
Yes, yeah, they were buildings. Most of them were completions.
And funding was set aside.
Yes, yeah.
Equivalent to finish them.
Yes, yeah.
So you did most of them. You remained with these 6.
Yes, yeah.
Okay. Tell us about your role now on the 6. Why you failed the CDF committee? You are saying that these 6 out of 44 were underfunded. How? When you said that they were costed and the money was there for 2022. What do you mean by underfunding?
If I can take you to Appendix 1H, which is the CDF minutes. The
engineer we go to 1H. Okay. Okay. Yes. Yes, we are there.
Yes. There's the table which is highlighting the projects which were submitted to the CDFC committee. It's also showing the original engineer's estimate which the engineers submitted to the CDF committee, and it's also showing the approved amount. Which
can you be reading them, because the way you wrote them, some of Appendix C, it's on page 72. They are numbered. Can you read them one by one? Engineer's estimate and what the CDF committee is.
The first project which was approved by the CDF committee, which was presented to the CDF committee, was Tuzunka and a market ablution block. The engineers gave an estimate of 525,424, but the approved amount which the CDFC approved was only 300,887.
And you guided them in the meeting?
Yes, Chair. We did guide them in the meeting.
The other project?
The other project was Kalemerela Primary School, which is a 1x3 classroom block. The engineers estimated, gave the estimate of 1,332,549, and this was reduced to 420,375. The other project was the health post in Malale Village, which the engineers estimated at 1.2 million, 1,225,801, but the approved amount was 510,450,000. Then there was the construction of a staff house at Ndeke Primary School, which the engineers estimated at 264,623, and this was reduced to 204,613. The next project which was submitted was Chizongoro Community Health Post in Chizongoro Village. The engineers submitted an estimate of 850,000, and this was reduced to 510,000. The other project was the Nazareth Village Health Post. The engineers estimated gave an estimate of 1,225,801, and this was reduced to 510,450.
So when you are recommending, you as technocrats, you are there, council secretary, you couldn't guide the CDF committee in ISOKA that this may not complete. When you are allocating these small amounts to the project, was it meant to complete the project or just to say that we are doing something?
I think, Chair, I think some of them were new constructions and some of them were completion. When we started the expanded CDF, I think we started mostly with the completions.
No, we are talking to the schedule here.
Okay.
And if you look at this bad report, in ISOKA, if I'm to be cited to be unfair, there is nothing that is happening. If you see these projects, not much is happening. And you have given the same reason. We are going to demonstrate that the CDF committee went against the guidance of the technocrats and allocated less money, whether it is a new construction or completion. Because even the completion could not complete it. It means that the monies were less. So the question to you, Council Secretary, is the CDF committee went against your guidance and you stayed back to say they have said it. What was the objective? What was the idea? Was it to complete these and give them to the community? Because what I know is that once the project is initiated, it's WDCs, the people say, we want this, a health post at Nazareth. Then you go and say, no, we have approved your health post at Nazareth. Now, the people are excited, waiting for it to be completed. And especially that the guidance was that under the new government now, when you start a project, it must be completed and handed over. Then you had so many of them, 44 for 2022. And the 6 that remained with the small amounts of money. What was the idea? To complete them, or they were phased? And when you are applying to the Ministry of Local Government through the PROJO, were you applying for a phased project, or you told the PROJO that you are going to complete its completion? Council Secretary.
Chair, maybe the building inspector who started the meeting can shed more light, and then I'll come in.
Thank you, Chair. While submitting this to the POG's office, they were submitted as complete projects, not as the phased projects.
So you knew that this money cannot complete a project, but whom were you deceiving? You knew that the amounts allocated, instead of 1.5 million, you are allocating 400,000, and you told the POG that you are completing a project when you knew that this cannot suffice. What was your conscience? You told the PROJO that we are completing at 400. So the issue is not the CDF committee. It's you technocrats who are giving a report that at 400 we are going to manage. That's why one of the projects here, I'll read, which one is that you even want to start using bed bricks. Have you seen that project? Where on earth, this government, when they came in, they said that no more the use of bent bricks. But because you allowed the CDF committee to prevail over your professional guidance, and it is okay for you, then you even went further to start compromising Instead of using blocks, no, let's use building bricks. This time of this era. So, Foreman, whom were you deceiving when you went to tell the bureau that we shall finish? And you told the bureau that you are completing these projects. Why haven't you completed them with the 2022 funding? Why? Foreman.
Thank you, Chair. These projects which we have already terminated, we have advised to forward them to 2025 CDF for completion.
From 2022, 2023, they were not funded. I've seen. We shall read them. Read Dr. Mwaza. Read them.
So
it's true. 2025. That's what you have proposed.
yes,
and 2025 was already given out.
yes, and they are actually under procurement. So project that was funded in 2022 is going to go up to 2025. We don't even know to what time will the people enjoy the services. Chair, the question I have to the technical staff is, what was your basis for your cost estimates? And at what point in the project identification and the interaction with the CDFC does the technical personnel give technical advice? At what point?
That's what I said.
Thank you, Chair. I think at this time when this was happening, I think we are coming. I think I would say we take responsibility as officers because we failed to advise, because we are the people who are supposed to advise the committee.
And you are happy.
And we didn't.
Business as usual.
No, we are not, Chair. We are actually very sad with that, because these projects, they started, I think, they were approved quite late in 2023, late 2023, I think mid 2023. The 2022 projects, I think most of them started that time. So on this one, I think most members also of the CDF committee were coming from that background where you do a lot of projects and then you give them little money and then you compromise the quality. But as at now, I think that has stopped. So I think this one, we failed to advise.
Sorry to cut you short. You see, we feel hate. It's painful to see you responding like that. When you were guided, the moment the new Dawn took over government, they increased the city of 25.7 million and guidelines were given. So you couldn't show your professional abilities to advise. The question is, at which point did you as technocrats guide or show your professional relevance to these CDF committee meetings, which were doing the wrong things? Let me read one of them here so that you know. It's quite, I said, you have said on the construction of health post at Chizongoro. Project was not implemented in the year 2024 because at that time the contract termination of contract termination. Now, this is the 2022 project. 2023 you couldn't terminate. 2024 you couldn't terminate. Then you have said awaiting 2025 CDF procurement process to complete. 2025 CDF notice of approval as appendix 1G. From 2022. This is still under, and there are so many of them. So now you are saying that you couldn't terminate. Why didn't you terminate? And you are saying that no, you failed. So we should close this meeting. That's why I was saying that we are wasting public resources. These reports, once seen by the government or the public, you are supposed to be sanctioned seriously. You can't take pride that this is what happened. The people were expecting of ISOKA, Chizongoro, Nathares, all those places were expecting to be given a product, nothing. Because you, as technocrats, you failed, and you're saying we failed them. For a question, let me read this one also. I'll just read one. It's serious, sir. You have even considered here on page 10. It should be further noted that the other contributing factor to the delays of these projects was that they were underfunded. The underfunding committed from the CDF resolution to readjust the estimates to include projects, to include more projects. You have considered that. Management has intensified the monitoring. What monitoring can you do when an underfunded project? So you're wasting administrative component monitoring a project that you know that is not going anywhere. So it's as though all the 44 were just put on ice. These will not be completed. And now you have moved them to 2025. What is it that you have shown? Very few. Now some of them, no, actually, some of them have been completed. As if you are doing a favor to this committee or to the people of ISOKA. From 2022, Dr. Mwanza.
Well, if you look at, we just sample one project, which is the construction of a health post at Nazareth. This contractor got 25% advance payment out of the 900, the 400 and the 400 and what was the amount?
Okay, just
yes.
5%. Let's move.
Okay, so now he disappeared, and the council has since terminated the contract, and this project has been taken to 2025. Then, has council recovered the advance payment to this contractor? Then, Chair, the prices now for 2025, they are on page 64 or 65. Yes. So like Nazareth, which was
900.
Which was 900, is now 1,560,450 kwacha.
This one page?
Page 67. Page 67. There are numbers, you know, but
all the appendices are numbered.
yes.
67, Nazareth is 1,560,450.62.
Yeah. So this Nazareth, if you follow the story, which is on page 5 of the submission, was signed with the Pandwe Enterprises at a price of 494,000 kwacha 957. The contractor was paid 25%, which is the advance payment, and the scope of work, which I look, it seems this particular health post was a completion. It was to complete the health post. It already had a substructure. It's just to do the superstructure and other finishes. That failed, and the price now in 2025 is, as per page 67, the table serial number 3, 1,560,450 kwacha. That is 3 times the original cost of the project. The question is, the contract that was signed with Pandwe Enterprise on 28 February 2023, it meant to complete the whole structure as per scope of work. Now, contractor just got 25% advance payment, it disappeared. Then you rescope the work because you say it was underfunded, coming to 1,560,450 kwacha. That is 3 times the cost price of the unit.
I hope
cost
you
price.
are paying attention. You are focusing. We give you time to focus, so you continue because we want you to explain this.
That is 3 times the unit rate that the first contractor offered to do the job. Your explanation is saying that you have the explanation for increased on page 7. The contractor was slow to implement due to the contractor failure to complete the project terminated, and the project has since been forwarded to budget with more scope added for additional funding to complete the scope. The scope under 2025 CDF fund includes solar installation, plumbing, water tiling, sittings, painting. Now, this scope of works that you have put here, if you compare with the scope of works that the first contractor was supposed to do on page 5, they are the same. And this particular project is a completion project, which means the size of the slab is the same. So, what has motivated the increase to 1,500,000, almost close to 1.6 million kwacha, if you have not expanded the scope of work in terms of increasing the number of rooms or extending the substructure for the slab, when it is just a superstructure? So you've just added solar installation. How come the price can be up to this much?
Pastor Secretary.
Thank you, Chair. Let me call upon the Director Engineering to come.
Thank you, Chair. So, as my colleague explained, the allocations were reduced, the estimate was reduced. So it simply means that even the scope had to be reduced in a way. Yes, it appears as though the entire scope was executed from the 2022.
No, let me guide. This project, the scope, the area scope for the first contractor stood the way it was, and it was costed at 900 plus. The contractor for this project just got 25% advance and it disappeared. Nothing happened. You follow? You should pick it where we are. So when this contractor disappeared, there was no work taking place. Whether it was the 25% he got was out of 900. He got how much? Yeah, the 25%. What? 494. Yeah. So he got the 25% and disappeared. So nothing happened. Now you have re-advertised it and you are calling it rescoping. And that rescoping has just brought in solar installation. But if you look at the cost price of the project from 2023 to 2025 now, it is 3 times. What has necessitated the triple jump in pricing? And have you recovered the 25% that was blessed to this contractor, best known to yourselves? Yes, yes.
Thank you, Chair. Maybe I will need to clarify something. This project, it's a new construction. When you go on page 20 of the attachment, the contractor started, the same contractor, the one who reached where it is now from nothing. So it's a new construction. It's just that along the way it took too long to complete. That's when it was terminated. So I wanted to clarify that because I thought the Honorable MP was saying it was a completion. It was a new project, Chair. Thank you. Just wanted to do that clarification. Then I throw it to my director engineering.
You see, yes. You are even bringing more issues.
To look at the scope of work for this particular project.
Let's go to page 5.
It is a project. It's the first project on the table. Gombe, construction of health at Nazareth, Pandway Enterprise, and then the scope of work is block brickwork, tiling, plastering, wall finishing, concrete works, roofing, sealing. Where is the substructure here? Where is the excavation, foundations?
Let us ask the CS to answer because he's the one who is...
So that this particular contract that was signed at 494,000 had a foundation. Where is the foundation description here?
Thank you, Chair. The status in that audit report is what they found of this project when they were auditing. It was already progressing. So that's the status where it was that time. Otherwise, it's the same contractor who started from scratch. And the update here is, it's more like the auditors are updating what they found on the ground at this time. Thank you. Maybe you want to come in?
No, before he comes in, let's move together. I think this one will summarize the whole project management. So many projects in the same fashion. Now, at 494,000, what was this amount? Was it for scratch to the roof, to completion?
Thank you, Chair. I call upon the director to shed more light.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, so in this amount, yes, the scope was to completion. I submit.
No, don't submit quickly. To completion, yes, but starting from where?
Where did it start?
Structure.
Where is it written here? As we read your reports, where is it written that the scope of work included substructure and the going up now?
So at the time of audit, the auditors found the slab already done. That is why it was not queried. That is why it's not appearing here.
Okay, now let's move there. Now the slab was already done. Now you have rescoped it to almost 1.6 million. That's the question that he asked. Now, if the slab was already there was no change. You were building on a slab that was already existing. This contractor got 25% and disappeared, according to your report. Although the council secretary now is making the situation worse, that no, actually this contractor never disappeared. He is the one who is doing it even now. Is it correct? Yes, we need to give you time to go out and caucus. We need your attention. You can either direct the individual officers or you respond. Or you share notes there. This contract was rescoped on already existing foundation where you were supposed to spend 400. Now you are proposing to spend 1.5 or 1.6 million. Now the question is, the same scope that was existing, you have just replicated it. What has necessitated this triple jump in price. And you said, no. This was from scratch. We said, no, there's an existing slab. Now we have agreed there was an existing slab. Was it the same contractor? CS says the contractor never disappeared or never aborted. He is the one doing it now. Is it true?
Yeah, it's not. The contract has now been terminated and forwarded to 2025. It's not on site. We terminated the contract.
When?
We terminated, I think, this year. I think on. Just check.
What is the date?
Just refer to the actual date.
So at the time of audit, this contractor was on site. Council Secretary.
Building inspector, we can come in.
Thank you, Chair. At the time of audit, yes, the contractor was on site. And this contract was terminated on the 15th of January 2024, as we can see on an appendix,
Page.
appendix 1B, page 19. There is a termination letter.
So when the auditors went there, the contractor was on site. Let us read the report. It is not that is. Let me read your response. Yes, 15th of January 2024. So what has necessitated the times 3 costing?
Thank you, Chair. Maybe the director can shed more light. They did the report.
Thank you, Chair. So, in the new scope, Chair, it's we're basically looking at what wasn't implemented. So, and the things that were not implemented have been highlighted.
What are those?
Yes. So we are talking about the septic tanks. We're talking about finishing the floor with tiles, the ceilings. We're also talking about electrical installation, also the solar installation as well, plus painting the entire building, and also the supply of basic equipment.
So initially they were not supposed to paint it.
No, it was electrical installation was not done. So we also considered conduiting. So
What we want to clarify,
yes, sir.
was not done or it was not provided in the scope. Was it provided?
In the new scope.
No, in the old scope. Was the electrification provided? Was the painting provided? Go to page 5 and read the scope there. Director, read so that you help us. The scope there on page 5.
Yes, so this the scope is as follows: block brickwork, tiling, plastering, and wall finishing, concrete works, roofing, ceiling, ironmongery, and metal work.
So continue.
Then plumbing, electrical and lighting installation, glazing, internal and external decorations. This is basically painting, drainages, septic tank.
So where did you get the audacity to mislead this committee? You are saying those were not provided. You have mentioned tiling, that this 1.5 was meant to provide for scope for the works that was not areas provided. Direct engineering, why did you do this? I'm not going to respond.
Okay. So this is what I had explained on earlier on, that the things that are appearing under 2025 were not executed under the funding from 2022. So those are the things that we captured.
But they were provided.
Yes, they were provided.
During that time, listen, we are a committee. Let us. The scope that was earlier provided and costed by yourself included all those works. At that time, you were supposed to have done it had you followed the proper project management. But you didn't do that. So now, you are mentioning the same scope, but now you have increased the price. The question is, what is the justification for increasing the price by 1 million? Dr. Mwanza, before he responds. Your mic.
The current status of the project, we can go to appendix 1, page 1B, appendix 1B, which is page 20.
Let's go to page 20, Director.
Appendix 1B, page 20. The health post at Nazareth. So this is the status of the project currently. And this is the project that is requiring 1.5 million for completion. I can see septic tank there, and painting is done.
Are you saying?
Painting is
This is the current status.
painting is
Roof,
done already.
everything, painting, then they are asking for 1.5 million.
Even the bituminous black is done. Everything is done. Maybe that's why they did not supply financials like IPCs, because we want also, they haven't answered that question on how they dealt with that 25% of this particular contractor. This is just an example, as you say, that you summarized, because these other projects, the health post that I'm just looking at those that were queried. There is going also at 1 point at Chinyonga is 1,501,164, and Nazareth is 1,560,000. Mpalakata was not queried anyway.
As we wind up,
so
Dr. Mwanza,
but these projects have not yet been awarded. They are under procurement, so there's still a chance to do.
If this is the status of Nazareth, and you're asking for 1.5, stop this. Can you block this? Auditors, please send people to, if this is the status and the council is now asking for 1.5 million, that cannot be justified. You go there and see. You are not helping ISOKA Council. Director, this is your country. Stop what you are doing, you people. In conclusion, Council Secretary, your project management is the poorest. You look at the whole report here. My analysis comes from what I read and what is reported here. And what I've seen, Council Secretary, you are in your own world. You are doing other things. It's like you have no time for this CDF. Because if you are a Council Secretary and the CDF committee is allocating 200,000 kwacha to a project that can cost 1 million, and you are part of it, whether you're not part of it, even at the time of sitting, you chair the procurement committee. With your conscience, you know this is not good. And you're a Council Secretary, why can't you engage the CDF committee? This is I don't know. So what did you call this yourselves? Failure to account for funds? Everything is in shambles. They are shining examples of councils who are doing very well. But these, like this one, even when you it as management. You sit down. Even when you leave this meeting today, I want you, each one of you in your rooms, sit down and reflect. Don't reflect about this the way the committee has handled it. Reflect on your report. Each one of you, and take this back home. This is what we are doing. If you handle these things properly, Council Secretary, you will not appear before this committee. And us as a committee will not be getting these allowances to sit. Madam Speaker will assign us for other programs. Why should we make this a traditional engagement? We just come here to apologize. No, this was the mix-up of dates. This project actually started like this. And I don't know why engineering now is proving to be the main problem to the CDF. The other day, one of the MPs, I don't know if it's Mununda or Honorable Mtelo, was asking to Saka Council if that building which was done under UNIP at the Civic Center was done by yourselves, it could have killed the people now. But those buildings are standing. And the people who built those buildings are just humble qualifications. But they are the heart for their country. Now we have a political will from the president and the government, but we have workers who have no heart to help their own country. This is what you are. It's not trying to demean you, but that's a reality. When you read this report, how I wish I could read this. Next time we shall be asking one day for a particular case. So read yourselves and let the people of Zambia to see what is happening in ISOKA. There is nothing happening. But local government, office of the provincial local government officer, I think we shall present this to the ministry. The offices which are there representing. Now we have asked the minister to be going around and the PS himself, which is very good. But he has an office. These things are taking place where provincial government officers are. And the provincial government officers, sorry I'm saying this because it's quite emotional, they are getting money every month. This generous government has given them money to be monitoring councils. Are they monitoring? We are in this together, all of us, as members of parliament, provincial government officers. We owe it to the government which has given us money. Are we doing the correct things? And any officer can allow ISOKA to be having such a bad report. It's sad. Where you are prevailed upon by a CDF committee, apply 200 a project, and you tell the people of ISOKA, no, we are giving Nazareth a health post, when you know it's not going to be completed. Those people, you are annoying them against a very innocent and innocent government. That should not be the case. So I can keep on saying this and that. Otherwise, it's quite disappointing. You go back and put your house in order. I don't want to mention that I've just read a report. No specific issues. I read in all of them. No issues on any project. It's just cross-cutting issues. This is what we want. Go to Mwense. Go to Shangombo. And you are the same people. You are just being transferred. The minute has been withdrawn. You go back, put your house in order. We shall make our recommendations to the Local Government Service Commission when they come to help them. We are there to help them. On behalf of Madam Speaker. Thank you very much.
ISOKA Town Council have made their submission before the Committee on Local Government Accounts, and the ISOKA Town Council was flanked by Mr. Brian Sonda, who is the Council Secretary for ISOKA Town Council. We've got one more witness to go before we call it a day, and this is Mafinga Town Council. And so we're standing by for Mafinga Town Council. Keep watching and pleasant viewing. And the partnership conference.
On the Vice President's question time. Questions for oral answer understanding order number 76.
For a matter to be admitted, it has to be of recent occurrence.
Continue watching Parliament TV, a channel dedicated to bring Parliament